Hello everyone, this will be a tutorial on how to create an Amazon database. This is an external database for your projects. And here I am in the AWS Management Console, and I can either go here, which I already have picked this, or I could go into my services and I could type RDS, and we'll go that way. Just maybe your console does not have these applications already there. And once you click on here, it shows you what you might have on your system. Right now I have nothing. It's blank, starting out fresh. So we come to this section, create, and click on create database. Okay. And you have a couple ways. Choose the database creation method. The standard method or the easy way. Okay. So let's try this. And I want to use a MySQL database. We select it. And we select the version number that we want. And let's stick to 5.7. And here's a very nice feature. You can either select for production, you're ready to go, for development and testing, or you just know you want to use the free tier. This is free for 1 year. Let's select that. The name of the database, the username, and you could ask it to auto-generate a password for you, or you can just select it yourself. Let's type in our password here. And we choose our DB instance. It's just the size. Basically, this is your server size. And this is part of the free tier. And how much storage you want. Once again, all part of the free tier. And you want to enable storage auto-scaling. It's actually selected by default. It's a very smart idea. You don't know when your database is going to grow out of control. And you want to make sure that it can continue growing until you are able to find out why it's growing. And here, because we're doing the free tier, there's no standby instance, so it's just the one. And the VPC connectivity, your database authentication. For now, we're using the password authentication, but usually you want something a little bit more powerful if it's for production. So you can set it up where it's both a password, like we set up top, and as well, you want to provide your IAM credentials, or if you create a role for your Ec2 instances or whatever other application to tie into this. And here we see our estimated monthly costs. And it says here that it's free for 12 months. And this is what you get. And this is what we built. And we just click create database. And now it's being created. And this will take some time. This is now at the status is available. And it took about 5 to 10 minutes for the status to change. Not too bad. And if we come back to the dashboard, and here this information changes, and you could see what we have, and it's interesting. So you have a 100 terabyte limit, and that you think it's interesting that they give you so much. A enterprise that needs a little bit more or a lot more storage can just click here, and that's for you to open a case with Amazon and let them know that you need more, and they will adjust that. So it's just like a bird's eye view of what you have going on. So when we go back to the database, now you could see CPU utilization. We have no active connections. And if we click on the database, you can see a lot more information. It gives you the security groups. We don't have any replication, no proxies. And all these security groups and the VPC and the subnets, if you want to design this the right way, you usually set all this up ahead of time. But this is just a short tutorial on how to create the database itself. It's not meant to be an all-encompassing tutorial on all the features of these RDS databases. But now that you have this database, you could move on to create, probably the simplest method would be to create an Ec2 instance and tie back into this database. Use it, like, for example, you could use it for a WordPress site or any application that requires a MySQL database. And usually you don't, if you don't want to run it within that EC2. We can take a look at all the nice features that are in this dashboard. For example, if we go to this monitoring tab, it'll show us the CPU utilization. For example, you might think everything's running properly, but you come over here and you notice that your CPU utilization is constantly at 60, 70, 80%. And you start thinking, okay, it's time to upgrade this database, get the instance to be a little bit more powerful, to be able to sustain the utilization. You could see how many database connections, your storage. Remember that we have a 20 gig storage on this instance, on this database. So you want to make sure that you're tracking that. This dashboard gives you a lot of these information that you need at a quick view on your database. Click on Logs and Events tab, and you could see not much to see right now because there isn't much. But one thing you see, backing up DB instance, finish DB instance backup. So one of the first things after creation is that it starts backing itself up, and then you get your normal MySQL logs, kind of standard. And at another time, we'll explain about these CloudWatch alarms that you could set up. We come to the configuration tab, and you can see what you have here. Your instance class, encryption, we didn't enable it, auto scaling, click on maintenance and backups, and we're allowing minor version upgrades. And you could see here automated backups. It's all, we didn't even have to configure that, it was already set up for you. And we could do tags. Tagging is a nice feature that we can talk about in another video. It's just a way of grouping, or sort of grouping your information. You could run commands just based on tags. And you can modify this database if you want. And we also have our actions here. You could stop the database, you could reboot it, you could delete it. you could create a read replica. Why would you want to read replica? Well, that's for another video. One interesting point, if you are, let's say, quite serious about your SQL database, it's a production database, there's this feature to restore the point in time. Very important. Sometimes you get some database corruption at a certain point and you just want to go back in time. And here we go. And when is the latest restorable time? It's this one. So this is when MySQL actually said, okay, we can go back to this point and we could restore from there and everything will be fine. Or you could select a custom time. Let's say you notice the corruption started happening quite a bit back, and you didn't realize till it was too late, and it's been several hours or a day or what have you. You could select that. Just a very nice feature to have. When you run your database within your EC2, those features are not always there. You actually have to do a lot of manual configuration in order to get to a similar setup, which makes this very nice. Now, one small detail that I forgot to mention is your connectivity and security. This endpoint, this is very important because you don't need to specify an IP address if you're running your servers or your application within this VPC, within this network internal to Amazon. You could just use this DNS that is automatically created for you, and you could just specify that in your server configuration, and that will communicate back to this database. Very interesting feature. I really like that feature. And this is it. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up. I will be providing more tutorials, a lot of beginner tutorials for you. I'm going to try to take them one step at a time, the different options. There's so much out there: AWS, GCP, Azure. I will try to create videos on each one of these things so that you could learn